I would personally like to thank Don Clark and the HR guy at Comcast for releasing me from my shackles that held me in corporate for 25 years. Thank you. Thank you. But I've never gotten the opportunity to actually thank him, so I'm thinking about writing him a note. It was June of 2019, and in January of 2019, I got with a group of moms called Moms Making Six Figures, because I was definitely in that realm in corporate, director of talent acquisition for Comcast, Western Region, TPX, whoop-de-fucking-do. And that whole year, I knew I had to do something different. So I started selling Melaleuca. And I'm like, I'm a recruiter, I can sell really well. Well, I didn't win the damn Caribbean cruise that I wanted. I didn't win it. But I was the highest ranking person on my team, right? And I was all competitive about it. But I lost a couple friends because I didn't know how to sell it the right way. But I love the products. But that kind of got me into this realm of what would it be like if I started my own company? And so in September, I did it. I started thinking about all these different names, Ignite and Flow, and 300 names, and they were all taken. And I'm like, best you. What would it be like if I actually helped people to be their best self in their career? Okay, that's it. Best you career advantage, because they're going to have an advantage in their career after being their best self. So that was the name of my company. And I started, and I made some phone calls, and people who I used to be with at Comcast were like, wait, you're doing what? And so they put me on retainer. And then I started doing resumes. And then I was told to go to this conference in 2020. And I went to this conference, it was online, and I have never felt so much fear in my life. Can I really do this? I don't think I can do this. Just this fear of the disassociation of that past 2 years in corporate and the mental health issues that just kept coming up through anxiety and through stress and through overwhelm and through like all this stuff. I couldn't do it anymore. I was feeling the stress of like, I'm the breadwinner for my family. My husband hasn't worked. He's a stay-at-home dad. My kids. I had a 12-year-old at the time who was mood disorder and a lot of problems, knocks at the door from the sheriff's department. I couldn't do it anymore. But something that I heard during that time, I saw this person who was a career coach, and she made enough money, and she was an international career coach, and she got Rainmaker, Fire Dancer, or Love Bug, or whatever the hell it was called, right? Whatever the hell it was called. And so I chose faith. I chose faith to invest. Okay, I'm really going to do this. And so I started doing it. And that first year, I did okay. I didn't win the Caribbean cruise. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't pay my mortgage for a year. 2021, we're going through the pandemic, and I'm doing all of these cool things online. I'm doing these seminars, and my coach is like, what about a community? And so in March of 2021, I started Colorado Career Connectors. And it was from this idea that I had heard in Arizona, because that's where I'm from. And it was called Career Connectors. And they had helped 40,000 people with resumes, right, through the '08 and all these different time frames. And so I'm like, it's really the only name for it, but we're going to just add the Colorado onto it. And so in March, we started. And I'm really blessed to say that in the past 2 years, we have helped over 4,000 people with over 50 webinars. And that meetup is now a nonprofit. And we have helped get LGBTQ in front of people who needed to hear it. We have brought the top speaker for visible and invisible disabilities. And it's the first time that I actually got to admit that I have invisible disabilities that make me stronger and better and more understanding to my clients. Well, what happens when you're kind of a person like me, who also was a part-time Zumba instructor, who has a ton of energy, and coaching goes up, and then my nonprofit started to go up, and I got into Denver Scale-Up Network with all these companies. I was one of the top 18 startups in Denver. Like, what the fuck? And then I got into Colorado Inclusive Economy, and I started meeting people who I wanted to serve. And then in November of 21, after these years of the pandemic, they were like, recruitment is the top 10 job in the country. And I'm like, I come from recruitment. So I made 2 phone calls, and I started doing part-time recruitment for Remote Lock. And then a friend of mine told me about CFC Construction. They needed a part-time, and I doubled my hourly rate. And then this fractional idea of fractional recruitment started coming along, and I was like, I actually might want to look into that. And so I started working with another business, and I found 17 people for them and saved them over $380,000 in 6 months. And now I do 3 things. I still have my nonprofit, and we still rock job seekers' worlds. I am a fractional recruiter and an exclusive recruiter for mid-sized businesses. And this year, we're going to start really focusing on healthcare and bioscience. And now, after 5 years, I'm celebrating my 5th year, and I am referral-based only, a career coach that helps people release the shackles of corporate. What's it like? What would it be like to be your best self? What does your best you act like? How does she engage? How does she release corporate? That stress, that not knowing. That's what I'm great at. And I can help you be better at it too. Thank you.